This sharp escalation to 50% tariffs is less about trade and more a signal from Washington that India's independent foreign policy, particularly its ties with Russia, will carry a price tag.
Well, look, our independent foreign policy is linked very much to our national interest. Where we determine that something with the US is of greater value to our national interest than something with Russia, we will take that call. In the case of oil and gas, it's not only us. The European Union is buying more oil and gas than we are. The Chinese are buying more oil and gas than we are. We don't particularly like the idea of another country for its foreign policy goals telling us what we can and cannot buy. Not to mention that the oil and gas we buy then comes into a larger Indian mix of oil and gas from various sources. And some of our refined oil products coming out, particularly from the Jamnagar refinery, are then purchased by the very countries in Europe, in UK, US, and so on, who otherwise have been objecting. So to my mind, there is a lot of double standards in this business that's being talked about. I mean, do you realize, for example, that the US itself imports like a couple of $1 billion worth of fertilizers a year, every year from Russia? It buys something called uranium hexafluoride from them. It buys a lot of palladium, which is needed for catalytic converters. In the 5 months of this year alone, January to May of 2025, US imports from Russia stand at 2.4 billion. And the fact is that this is already representing a more than 20% increase from last year. So if that's going on, how can Mr. Trump argue that India's money is fueling Russia's war machine in Ukraine, but his American dollars are not? I mean, that's complete hypocrisy. So I really think we will have to sit and talk to the Americans. There's a negotiation going on. I'm not asking for any hot-tempered language. I'm just asking that we should stand up for our rights, point out what is going on with some of the American statements. I've been an advocate of our close relationship with the US. We do share democratic values, strategic interests, a history of cooperation, and there are almost 4 million Americans who trace their descent to our country. But I have to say at the same time that any friendship has to be built on mutual respect and not unilateral demands. They've got to talk reasonably with us. I'm afraid, Maria, you can't accept a situation where one side dictates terms and the other side is expected to comply without question. Those days are over. I mean, after 200 years of colonialism, we're not going to let anybody dictate to us like this. That's been an article of faith of Indian foreign policy since 1947, and no one is going to be allowed to change that today. Not Mr. Trump, certainly.